welcome back to another episode of Rail Industry Connected. I'm Dan Clark, and thank you for joining us. SMEs are such an integral part of the railways, and innovation through private sector SMEs will be essential in the years to come as rail becomes safer, more sustainable, and more efficient. As part of a new series, Rail Industry Connect is going behind the scenes with some of the SMEs, part of the latest cohort of the BCIMO Clean Futures Programme, which focuses on supporting businesses to bring innovation into a live railway environment from an environmental perspective. Today, we speak to Anjali Devadasan, co-founder of Treeva. Treeva is on a mission to provide reliable power for a more sustainable future. It generates renewable energy from the airflow of passing trains to reliably power infrastructure such as station lighting, train care centres, and EV charging at depots. Something a bit different but very exciting, I'm sure. Treeva provides the first and only turbine designed specifically for the railways with double the energy efficiencies of alternatives whilst withstanding the turbulent airflow of passing trains. Anjali, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Oh, Dan, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So initially, please tell us what Treeva is aiming to do beyond obviously the introduction I just gave it there, and how did the concept become a reality in the first place?
Yes, of course. So Treeva, as you'd mentioned, Treeva generates renewable energy from passing roads and railways, so passing transport on these areas. And we essentially harness the wind energy from these transport corridors, essentially making use of land that's already in use so that we can generate renewable energy. Now, our small-scale wind turbines are designed to be placed along these roads and railways, so we can take advantage of the natural wind that flows past and at the moment is uselessly dissipated into the surroundings. The idea stemmed from recognizing that so much of this energy moves through these spaces, yet it's rarely captured at the moment. So bringing it to a reality took a mixture of engineering, sustainability-driven design, as well as a lot of collaboration. We prioritized making sure we solve key problems in the rail and transport industries. For example, when we first looked at the transport sector, and from my dad actually works on the railways, and we had a lot of conversations when I was growing up about electrification, signal failures, strangely at the dinner table, about train delays. And so really recognizing that problem from an early stage, it's been an honor to try and tackle that through Treeva at this stage with the transport sector as well. The Clean Futures Programme and Future Labs has been integral in sort of coming into the railways and enabling us to tackle some of these problems in energy supply risks and developing independent energy on site.
So you were part of the Clean Futures Programme, as you just mentioned there. How did you find that from an SME perspective? Because obviously when you're looking at it from an entrepreneurship kind of point of view, it's quite hard to actually introduce something like this, especially something as radical as this into the industry, really, something that is just completely different. How did you find it from that point of view, and how has it helped you throughout the program itself?
Yes, so that's a great question. In terms of Clean Futures, I have to say it was a fantastic opportunity. Especially as an SME, you're often balancing the innovation side with the realities of funding, regulation, market adoption, and essentially commercial awareness, but also integrating with the railways as a sector. And the program provided what was invaluable, incredibly invaluable industry connections, expert feedback, and practical support that helped us refine our approach, both from BCIMO as well as the Connected Places Catapult, and all the key partners and stakeholders that were involved. One of the key benefits was the mentorship and collaboration, because having access to the people who navigated the challenges of bringing sustainable technologies to market, we could actually see how those challenges relate to us and how we can continue to develop this opportunity and open doors to an industry that may have taken longer to access otherwise.
Why do you think they haven't kind of thought of something like this before? It's such a simple idea when you put it down. Putting a wind turbine and using the actual wind that's coming from the passing trains and putting that energy into the industry, back into the infrastructure. It's very simple, but when you boil it down to that point of view, but how do you come about with something like that? How do you come about with an idea like that?
Yes, so it is really exciting, and I think the main thing is trying to install a regular turbine on the side of a road or a railway. It would break within 3 years
Right.
due to the cyclic fatigue that's caused by all of the turbulence that's on the side of a road or a railway. And so it's either the compromise on durability or a compromise on energy efficiencies. And so we've been able to develop the best of both worlds, where our turbines have significant payback periods, but also can last for a minimum of 15 years. And that's why we've been able to gain the kind of traction and interest from the transport operators so that we can make a positive impact in this sector. So it helps that it's quite visual and easy to explain, and something that has the potential to really make an impact, because we're making use of that readily available land on the side of roads and railways, but also the airflow that's already uselessly dissipated at the moment.
And what's your background, Anjali, as well? Obviously, coming into the rail industry, you say your father's obviously had a background within that. How did you get into the rail industry, and is that where you want to take things, or is it beyond that? Are we looking at things from a transport perspective? Roads, as you say, is another opportunity. Where's the future for you?
Yes, so at the moment, working on Treeva, we've previously installed on the side of roads. So the Clean Futures Programme really opened doors into the rail industry.
Right.
In terms of my experience or my background, I have a background in engineering. So material science and engineering and MEng from Imperial. I worked at Rolls-Royce for a while, working on Rolls-Royce's jet engines for the year 2050, but also various materials testing and looking into turbulence, etc. So this is where some of that experience comes in with the technology.
Yes.
As well as my co-founder, who is incredible at inventing new things.
Always helps.
which always helps, definitely. So growing up, being exposed to the rail industry through my dad, that really helped with having those early conversations, even though I had no idea that would impact me so much in this way. And so having that background, an interest in transport, so with the jet turbines, looking at airports and jet engines, that is also another potential source of energy because of the airflow in those areas. So really there's the potential with roads, railways, airports, and even seaports as well.
Wow. It sounds pretty endless, really, and plenty of opportunity there. Sustainability being a massive topic for all these different sectors as well at the moment. There's plenty of opportunity. But
Exactly.
when we look at it at this stage now, you've had the opportunity through the Clean Futures Programme to demonstrate value of this to the industry. What was that experience like as an SME?
Yes, so it's been incredibly rewarding. Just seeing the industry's response, particularly from the transport and infrastructure leaders, has validated the need for our solution and for Treeva turbines. So we've shown that these turbines are not just a concept, but a working, scalable solution. And I think that's been very much the core takeaway from the Clean Futures Programme with BCIMO. And sort of addressing those needs is something that we're really excited to be doing. and working very closely with the rail and transport operators. Now, this also means it was also very exciting for us to we won the People's Choice Awards with the Future Labs Expo, which was with industry leaders in the rail sector, and having that validation has been able to has given us the opportunity to sort of overcome some of the skepticism with technology. So there's always skepticism with any new technology. So part of the experience has been about answering tough questions and demonstrating that real world performance. And the most exciting part has been seeing the interest grow. So not just from sustainability advocates, but from organizations looking for commercial as well as being able to have scalable solutions to integrate renewable energy into their existing infrastructure. And so that's been really rewarding.
And it must be nice from that point of view that you've been able to kind of open their eyes quite quickly on something like this. As you say, you can explain it quite simply, but naturally, bringing anything like this to market, there are challenges along the way. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome throughout the process?
So one of the biggest challenges has been overcoming the risk averseness in the industry, like I'd mentioned. So, for example, with the transport and infrastructure sectors, they're naturally cautious, and that's understandably so, because there's the given need for reliability, safety, and the long-term viability. So decision makers are often a bit hesitant to adopt new technologies until they've seen proven results at scale. And that's why, to address this through the Clean Futures Programme, we've really focused heavily on credibility. So this means rigorous testing, data-driven case studies, and real-world pilots that demonstrate the performance, durability, and economic viability as well. So we've engaged with industry bodies and regulatory stakeholders very early on so that they feel part of the journey rather than being presented with a finished product that they're, so that they're much more confident about the technology. And this also means we've been able to gain support from some very exciting organizations like the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, as well as some Samsung Electronics UK. So another key aspect about de-risking the adoption is really bringing in the potential customers with us. So we offer kind of flexible deployment models and phased rollouts so that organizations can trial the technology with minimal upfront commitment.
Right.
And then, so then when we remove that all or nothing barrier, we've seen much more openness to exploring the innovation. So yeah, ultimately introducing innovation isn't just about having a great idea. It's about making it as easy as possible for people to say yes. And so that's where we've really focused in on transparency, collaboration, and clear commercial and environmental benefits so that we can play a crucial role in the railways.
The onboarding process is incredibly important, isn't it? I was chatting with a company called Tended in a previous episode, and they really spoke about the onboarding process and actually getting people to see for themselves how it works. For them, it was a geospatial point of view, so a bit more, I guess, adaptable in that way. But this is a bit more of a finite solution. So how have you managed that onboarding process differently now to get people bought into the idea?
So in terms of onboarding, we've really focused in on looking at where we can provide the turbines, which locations, and how best we can support those. So for example, if an organization is interested in installing a turbine for a remote railway station, or for example, a train care center depot, we would provide the turbines for that location in a scaled rollout, and then have the information and data collected from that, so that the organization is very confident about how we can provide the most renewable energy in a reliable manner as well. So that's part of the solution. And then another aspect is really working closely with the customer, because we don't just want to give any turbine. We want to give a bespoke solution for the issues that the organization is facing. So, for example, being able to power lighting at a remote train station, or a train wash at a maintenance depot, or a train care center, sorry, or, for example, EV charging in another area. So there's different examples of how much energy could be generated in a location, as well as how we can help achieve those sustainability and commercial goals as well.
And the major challenge that I will bring up here, with anything going onto rail infrastructure, getting Network Rail approval is absolutely essential. And adding something else onto the railway obviously incurs a potential additional safety risk and all these different factors that they'll look at. How did you find that process?
Yes, so I absolutely love this question, because it is one of those areas where we're mostly hesitant to integrate new infrastructure into the railways because of those timelines. But I'd like to say, actually, we've gained a lot of positive support from Network Rail and the train operators.
Great.
And this means that through hard work on both sides, we've been able to do a lot of the permissions focused, sort of submitting an NRAP from, for example, a Network Rail assurance panel. So those processes are there for a reason, so that we can be cautious and maintain safety and reliability with the railways.
Cool.
Sometimes they can hinder innovation sometimes with the timelines. But here it's been positive in terms of being able to push the process forward. There is still a way to go for us to, for example, explore other areas, and also it can be time consuming. But what I'd like to say is SMEs should definitely not take that as a reason not to work with the railways, because there is so much potential to support the railways with a positive impact through our sustainable solutions.
So being thorough with your business case, being definitive with your results, and really collaborative obviously gets you where you need to be. So
Exactly.
good bit of advice there. What other advice would you give to innovators, entrepreneurs looking to introduce new products and services into the railway industry?
Firstly, I'd say to understand the industry's barriers to adoption, whether it's costs, regulation, or infrastructure constraints, because we need to be able to fit into real world systems. There's a lot of really innovative ideas out there, but we also need to be able to make sure we are fitting and delivering on real problems in the railway sector.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
after speaking to over 210 different transport operators, we've had a lot of information about which problems are the most important and how we can help solve them. And I think that's really helped us with our traction. And secondly, I'd say collaborate, because you can't change an industry alone. So working with partners, mentors, and various members of the railway industry can really move things forward. So having the support from the railway industry, from BCIMO, Connected Places Catapult, and all the other partners involved has really accelerated our progress within the railway industry. And the last part would be to be prepared and be persistent. So bringing a new technology to market, especially in sectors like energy and transport, sustainability, does take time, does take a lot of iterations. So keep refining, keep listening to feedback, and stay focused on solving the problems that the railway industry and the transport industry really need to solve.
And what's next for you as a business? You've gone through the Clean Futures Programme. Now it's, out and getting that product out there. What's next for you in the next year or so?
Yes, so it's very exciting as we're already deploying with various customers on our waiting list. So at the moment, we have 23 customers on the waiting list. And we have manufacturing partners, so they essentially, our maximum capacity is around 500 turbines a month.
Right.
So we're really focused on scaling up because we've demonstrated the viability of our turbines. And the next step is expanding these installations, continuing to demonstrate this credibility, and working with further transport authorities and businesses within the railway and transport sector. We're also looking at optimizing our manufacturing process, but also making sure that we can provide innovation, continuing to do R&D so that we can provide the most efficient turbine with the greatest payback as well. But also looking at upcycling materials from the automotive industry and really reducing the resource extraction that we have by providing our turbines. We've come a long way with that, but we always know that there's always a way to enhance that. And the third is actually something quite interesting, that education remains a big focus. So overall, Treeva's mission is to create a more sustainable future. And we've actually been doing quite a few small workshops with schools and local communities to raise awareness about renewable energy solutions. It's quite fun actually having these small turbines that we provide at schools where children and students can essentially learn about renewable energy, about climate change, and how to make a positive impact. So this is a fulfilling part of the journey as well. Ultimately, our goal is to see roads and railways being able to generate renewable energy on site and become a standard part of the infrastructure, so we can help decarbonize transport networks, so we can make the most of this readily available land.
And where can people go to find out more?
It would be amazing if you'd like to find out more. www.treeva.co.uk is our website. And you can also send over an email. Our contact form is on the website. It would be great to hear from you.
Anjali, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Anjali, for coming on and sharing some of your insight into your experience as an SME trying to get into the rail industry. I think whether you've been working in the rail industry for 10 years or you're new and you haven't done that yet, I think some of the advice and challenges that she's overcome as a business with something such as exciting as this is useful for us all. And actually looking at things from a network rail point of view, where many have found that being a massive barrier, actually looking at it, taking it by the horns and doing things in such a thorough way, in the way that she has obviously paid dividends. Really excited to see what's next for Treeva, and surely makes absolute sense to be on the railways in the coming years. So thank you very much, Anjali. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Rail Industry Connected. You can view past and future episodes of Rail Industry Connected on YouTube, or listen to them on your way into work on Spotify. And of course, you can connect with other rail businesses and the industry on railindustryconnect.co.uk. Thank you, and see you next time.